Hi everyone. So I wanted to come back to you with a business related video. This one is about the type of client everyone should avoid. Maybe it's okay to not avoid them if you're extremely desperate and just need the money like now, right now, quickly in a hurry. Work with them once and then never again. I've been there. But overall, I've learned over the years this is the person you want to avoid. So if I had to use one word to describe this type of client, it would probably be cheap. But by that, I don't mean just a person who's looking to save money. I mean the type of person who has a cheap mentality. And when I say cheap mentality, those people tend to A, want to spend a very limited amount of money. B, that amount of money is far lower than even the lowest quote that they would get if they were to consult several people who do what you do. And usually they'll want something that's even lower than your quotes if you're charging what you should be charging. But in addition to that, they'll want top of the line service that they would get from a top of the line service provider who would give them the highest quote. So, for example, let's say you are a housekeeper. So, this person will want to pay you $5 an hour because they're on a budget, or they might say, "Well, your service isn't that complicated. You just sweep floors and mop and clean toilets. Why do you need that much money?" Um, the why do you need that much money? Clearly, it's a valuable service. Otherwise, they would not be looking for someone to provide it to them. Anyway, moving on from that, that person, in addition to wanting you to provide your services at $5 an hour when you really should be charging 30, 35, 40, 45, depending on where you live, uh like the level, if you are branded as a premium housekeeping service or just like kind of accessible to middle class, whatever the case may be. The point is they want to pay you much less than you are worth. In addition to that, not only is it enough that it's not enough that they just want to pay you $5 and for you to clean their home. They want a deep clean. They want top to bottom. They want you to use organic cleaning supplies, high end, top of the line. They want every inch of their house clean as if, I don't know, as if like a whole team of housekeepers from the Ritz-Carlton or wherever showed up. They want it done quickly. They want a mint on the pillow. They want the whole nine, and they will crab at you and complain. They might even leave you a negative review if you give them anything less. And that is why I say you should avoid these people. It's best, but starting out, sometimes you're going to encounter these people, especially when you're trying to build your client base. In that case, I would say please try to avoid the cheapest of the cheap. There are signs that these people are like that. They ask about price a lot, and they might ask what's included in the price. You tell them, and they're like, "Oh, well, will you wash my car too?" Or they tell you what they claim the person across town would do, or what their old housekeeper would do. At which point you should wonder, well, why is that person no longer their housekeeper? If you listen closely, there are typically signs that everyone who's been in that person's life providing them a service has probably left them. I.e., "Oh, my old housekeeper," or "I've been through 5 different housekeepers this year because no one can get it right." Or, "Oh, all of my people, I had a whole staff of people and they quit, my yard guy, my housekeeper." Stuff like that is a red flag. Like, why can't you keep anyone around you? Those are people you need to look out for. So, yeah. Um, they want a low price. They want you to give them the stars and the moon and the sun. They want it done quickly. They'll call you up last minute. They'll try to keep you longer, make you late to your other appointments. And this is just an example. You might be a graphic designer and somebody wants to pay you Fiverr prices. If you know that website slash, I think it's an app too, Fiverr, where you can get certain services done for $5. Maybe you're not, or maybe you are. Maybe you do offer services on Fiverr or a platform like it, but those are your very limited services, and you have a whole menu of things that require more of your time and attention. But you'll have people that want your top of the line services for $5. I don't know why that's the amount I'm choosing for this price. I probably because no service provider is probably providing a service for $5. Like that's not sustainable. Um, in any case, just about. So, in addition to that, these people they might try to ruin your reputation. They're quick to leave a negative review. They might try to get a refund from you for no reason. They're kind of like scammers. In a way they are scammers. Like they go around trying to get the cheapest things they can. They want things for free or for as cheap as possible. And usually when they ask you for something that is like insanely cheap, like unsustainably cheap for you, they really want it for free. So be careful because they might resort to unscrupulous measures to get it for free. And that's where like the negative reviews, they might report you to Better Business Bureau, or if you're on a platform like Fiverr or TaskRabbit or what's the other one? There's one called Moonlighting. Like all of these platforms that provide a marketplace for freelancers, they might give you a negative rating or report you to the platform and try to get their money back just because they're cheap. So that is why I highly recommend charging what you're worth. And even if you're just new starting out, maybe you want to charge like slightly below what other people in your area are charging. By all means, do your research and find out a reasonable price for whatever you're offering, whether it's a product or a service. But I wouldn't recommend going much, much lower than average. Because you're kind of you're leaving the door open for people to take advantage of you. First of all, they might, readily suspect that you're new and inexperienced. They might sense that maybe you really need the money. Um, Whatever the case may be, just beware the bottom feeders and the people who are looking to take advantage and to squeeze as much out of you as possible while giving as little as they can. Um, I've encountered a couple people like that. A few people actually. Most of them, most of these situations took place within my first 1 to 2 years of being in business. And I gradually increased my prices and I saw the benefits of doing that. Like, yes, you're not going to get the people who are like more inclined to lowball you or just looking for a deal, but you're making more money per transaction and you're getting a higher quality of customer, someone who values whatever you provide and they're willing to pay for it. They're also more inclined to let you do your thing as a professional versus trying to micromanage you when clearly they don't know how to do what you're doing or they can't do it themselves. That's why they're hiring you. Now, in a lot of cases, you're probably going to want customer feedback and input, but be careful with that, especially if you're working with a lowballer because, a lot of these people like to try to control, they look for people to control and manipulate as well. Because, like, if you're going around lowballing people and you're not like, it's not like a desperate situation. Okay, so if you provide a non-essential service like me, I'm a professional organizer. You won't die if you don't have a professional organizer, but it is a good thing to have, a good person to have around to pay for their services. Um, if you're providing something extra, you're not like selling bread or something, or water in a desert, whatever the case may be. Um, and someone's trying to lowball you, like that's extra ridiculous because it's something they could live without. They just want it, but they don't want to pay for it. And they don't, I mean, it's usually not personal, but it could be a matter of they just don't want to pay you for it because they see something that they think they can take advantage of. Maybe because you're female, maybe it could be your race, maybe it could be your age. Just beware that there are people who are out there and who do that sort of thing. So I'll tell you about a few of the people I've encountered who have done things like that. So first time that ever happened to me, man, my rates were like, ooh, a fraction, like well under half of what I charge now. Um And I was just trying to build a client base and to get experience because I was like brand new and I thought that I wasn't sure of the demand for my service. Um, but I found that people needed me and yeah, so I there was this woman that I found on a platform and where people hired like kind of domestic people and do they hire like lawn, I don't know, like things around the house, even childcare you could get from there. It like you could find like a live-in nanny or a live-in housekeeper, but it was also people who just like come to your house and do a service and then leave or whatever. So I used that platform and I found like, oh, so this woman contacts me and she seems interesting. She actually works in the nonprofit sector. um I won't say anything about that because I haven't had enough experience with nonprofit people to say I'm not going to go there. Anyway, this particular woman worked in the nonprofit sector and she had just moved to the city. She was married to like a guy who he traveled a lot. He wasn't at home a lot and they had two kids. This woman, at first it was fine, but so like I created a plan. She was moving into her house. I created a plan or she had these huge pantries in her kitchen, which is unusual for this part of or this city, this metro area I live in. Um well, yeah. So I created a layout for her kitchen, place to put all her pots and pans and to fill the pantry. They had a lot of stuff. I don't remember whether she was really into cooking or whether it was her husband's family because he was Italian. Um, but they had a lot of stuff that needed to go in these places, and I did like an organized sort of layout so that they could always access and see what they have, and maintain their kitchen in an organized manner. I do that. I don't just organize your stuff, but I talk to each client. I get to know their habits, their lifestyle, so that I can create something that they can maintain and that will be intuitive to them to use. So I usually don't do two things twice. Sometimes I do, like if someone just needs a basic closet organizing strategy, I have a default for that. It's on my website too. Um, anyway, yeah. So, so I do all of that. And this was like a 4-day project or something. So, like, after day two, things started to get weird. And there was another woman who was there too, who she had hired because she was looking for a nanny and they were doing like a trial basis. And that woman actually told me that she was filling out an application to become a bus driver, which once I tell you what happened with this woman, hopefully she moved forward with that plan and no longer subjected herself to that environment. But so day two, day three, the client woman starts dismantling the whole, like everything I've done, as if we haven't talked about the plan, as if I didn't like get her feedback and approval for the layout I was doing. She just comes in and starts dismantling everything I've put away. Well, I thought we were gonna do this. No, that's not what we talked about. Like, and really, I was being paid hourly. She was paying me by the hour. So at the end of the day, it really wouldn't have mattered. But I wasn't going to stay there for 8 days to redo what I had done in 4 days. Like, no, I was just going to take the money and go by the end of the 4 days. But still, it was just really disrespectful the way in which she did it. And another thing that happened that morning, she freaked out and had like a meltdown about something. I don't remember. But she had a meltdown in front of me, in front of the woman who was like doing the trial as her nanny. Um, and I don't know, like she blamed me for ruining her life or something, which was already like the first red flag in Shrek 1. Because like I was 10 minutes late or something, and she works from home, or it wasn't like, yeah, like she didn't really have anywhere to go or anything. Um but like she starts crying and has like the crazy meltdown. So I'm like, I don't do this sort of thing. Like in this city, everybody's late. Like I'm usually on time to my appointments, but like my clients are late, half the time. There are times when I get to people's house like before they do, like half an hour. We were supposed to meet like 45 minutes ago. So like because there are a lot of people that live in this area, it's kind of like understandable that there's going to be transit delays. There might be roadblocks, like whatever. But whatever. Everybody has a bad day. All right, let it slide. But then she starts dismantling, you know, stuff I've been working on. All right, at that point, I'm pretty much deciding that like I'll cut this project short. I'm like plotting my exit basically. So then so she leaves the house and then she comes back and what happened? I don't remember the order. This was like a few years ago. I don't remember the order in which these things happened. All I know is I remember her having another crying meltdown and the nanny's trying to console her and she's saying maybe she called the husband and was on the phone with him and she's saying that she's crying because she was in Whole Foods with her kids and she was yelling at her daughter, the 3-year-old daughter, and she's afraid that the people at Whole Foods think she beats her kids. At first I'm like, okay, well maybe that's like the usual stress that, parents deal with, that mothers deal with, whatever, feeling judged. All right, little bit suspect that you would jump to the conclusion that people, and she seemed really convinced that like everyone thinks she beats her child. Now, I've worked on some child welfare type stuff, on a volunteer basis, with nonprofits. That raised kind of a red flag, just the manner in which she talked about it. But here's what really had me I should have reported this woman just like to get them investigate her. And I'm not a person who calls CPS on people out of spite, but like I was legitimately concerned after this. I don't remember what it was. Her daughter, a couple things. This wasn't the red flag, but her daughter painted a picture for me. And the woman was fine with it at first. And she's like, oh, okay, let's put it over to dry. So so that I can take it home or whatever once it dries. And then like at the end of the day, she's just like, I don't know, like she was not about, I didn't ask for the picture or anything, but she just, I don't think she threw it away, but something along those lines happened where it was kind of like you could tell that she wasn't happy that her child had made something for me. And this was probably before the meltdown. I don't really remember. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But here's like how I kind of suspected that something was really off, apart from like the crying spells. So she I don't remember what happened exactly, what led to this, but basically maybe her daughter was like playing around the house, or maybe her daughter was crying or something, and she cursed the 3-year-old out. Like she called her the B word, and to her face, like, yeah, actually now that I'm retelling the story, it happened a couple of times. I know that she called the daughter a B word, and then either she said to me on another in another instance, or to the nanny, or to someone over the phone, she's like, yeah, I'm sorry that the 3-year-old is being a little B word. Like this was very comfortable for her. And I'm like, this child is 3 and you're talking about her like she's a grown woman who stole your dude or something. Like, why are you talking about that? And honestly, it kind of like struck me, because not only do I have experience with doing volunteer work for child abuse type causes, but my mother was very verbally abusive and like has said things like that to me about me. Like I don't think she said it to other people, but definitely to me. Like not when I was 3 that I recall, but definitely by age 7, 8, 9. Yeah, she was definitely using that type of language toward me. Talk to me like I was a person off the street. But anyway, yeah, so that and like a few other things. I also met this woman's mom, and I remember there being something slightly off about that dynamic, maybe. I don't remember, but I had seen more than enough to know that this woman was the type of person who kind of let's say she's no stranger to drama. She likes drama, histrionic, loves attention, and probably loves to take advantage of people. So that the nanny was working on some sort of bogus trial basis, or what, I shouldn't say bogus, but like I don't know, like the trial basis sounded kind of suspect to me because she wasn't giving the nanny any indication of like how to plan for, okay, we'll do this for a weekend, we'll see, or what, like, yeah. So I hope that woman got out of there too if she needed to, but like that environment was very toxic. And this was a woman who lowballed me and, like, yeah, the rate that I offered her was very low. And it was because in the beginning I felt sorry for her because they had just moved. I think she said that they had money problems because they were on a tight budget because they had just moved from another city and there were some complications with finding their place to live or like something that went on with their apartment. So I thought I was being nice, helping another lady out. And yeah. So that was the first time I encountered this. I didn't know that I had an inkling that maybe I could have avoided that by not haggling, not allowing people to haggle on prices and by not going that low. But I wasn't sure because that was my first experience and I had never run a business like this before. So, another experience. I have one in mind, but I was going to tell you about another. Oh, okay. I'll briefly go over the other few. There was another woman, very histrionic, also broke some rules of her profession. She was a HIPAA, she works in healthcare and definitely violated some HIPAA things because she wasn't let's say she wasn't maintaining the privacy of her patients the way she should have been. Very histrionic, very opinionated, like would say really polarizing things. She would watch the news all day and say really polarizing things. She would overshare things about herself and her patients. Very unhinged woman. I didn't really I don't she didn't lowball me like the first lady did. We might have worked out a lower price because did some work for her on like a kind of a longer term basis because she was renovating in her apartment or she was refurnishing it. I also designed a filing system for her. That's kind of where some of the HIPAA stuff came in. But yeah, so so everything was fine and good. She loved working with me. 6 months later, she files a claim for a refund for the entire project, which it had to have been like 2 or 3 weeks. She wants her money back. After being happy, so here's where she really screwed up. She had already left me all types of positive reviews on the work that I did for her, and then comes back like 6 months later wanting a refund. Yeah. So, I wish I could remember how much lower I discounted her, but I'm pretty sure I did because I'm pretty sure I gave her like a low, not as low as the first lady. Never, ever, ever again. Never. But yeah, like that's something I wouldn't do again either. Like working on a long-term basis with a person who clearly has kind of an unhinged personality. There are some things that are more important than money, is what I'm saying. Um, Another case, there was a project, well, another lady, also from the beginning. She was from that same platform that the first lady came from. She wasn't nearly as heinous. She was just very controlling. I charged her slightly more than the first lady. And, she commented after I came, because sometimes I would do that because these people don't know me. I'm coming in their home. I feel like I need to prove myself first, so I would give them a discount like for the first visit or something like that. And she commented, like, you're way overqualified for the project I have you working on. And we stopped working together, mutually. She didn't say anything to me, but, like I was just kind of not available and she stopped contacting me or whatever. But, I would be at her house. She had a huge home, beautiful home, lived in the same, building as a celebrity. I'm not going to name, well, the celebrity did live there. She had moved already, but, beautiful, beautiful home. Had lots of kids, and I think that played into her personality. And this is why I mention people sometimes will see things about you and think they can take advantage. I don't think she was really trying to take advantage of me, but just the dynamic didn't work for me because she was very controlling. She would force, well, not force, but like very, very, very persistently encourage, quote unquote, me to take snack breaks. And she would have the housekeeper bring me, like, this is gonna sound so silly, but this is some of the crazy stuff that I went through in the beginning. But she would have her housekeeper bring me a snack, like, you know, like I'm one of the kids after school or something. There would be like a yogurt cup or whatever. This sounds so ridiculous, but clearly that didn't work out for reasons. But this is the type of stuff that you get yourself into when you don't charge what you're worth. And people kind of think that they can take the reins with you, which is why I'm making this video telling you not to do that. So, there are maybe one or two other situations I could share with you, but I'm gonna end this video. So yeah, basically the moral of the story is charge with what you're worth, maybe charge a little bit more even, be good at what you do, develop your skill, hone your talent, but yeah, like charge what you're worth. Don't be afraid to do it. And it might mean you have to go a little bit harder with marketing, with getting the word out. You know, maybe you have to be in Facebook groups or like mailing things out or like going to festivals and things, handing out flyers. I didn't do that, but I thought about it. But you know, like you may have to go harder in some other ways to get the word out, but you're going to be making more money per transaction. You're going to resent people and things a lot less, and people are going to feel less inclined to take advantage of you. You're going to weed out those people, for the most part, who think that they can just kind of like have it their way, like it's Burger King. So with that said, I'm going to end this video. I hope it's helpful. Like my videos, please subscribe to my channel, leave comments, let me know if you want to hear more about this stuff, more about some of the other stuff on my channel. There's lots of other stuff on my channel. So yeah, I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care, be well, know your worth, please. Know your worth and don't be afraid to charge it. Okay, I will talk to you soon. Bye now.